Hello, people. What is going on? Back again with another tier list. This time, Premier League predictions. To my right is Lucas. You know who he is, all the way from the US of A. Down the bottom there is Jamie Talks. You may have seen him on TikTok on many occasions doing his stuff. And over there is Jay, Kent-based. Oh, Kent-born, but East London-based. Lads, welcome. What are we saying? How are we before we get cracking?
Top, absolutely top. The tier list's so nice, we had to do it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very true. Jamie, what about yourself, man? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. Since the last tier list, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is now confirmed, mate. So I'm buzzing. I'm waiting for the opening game of the season, mate. Just bring it on, you know.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. And Lucas, take it away, mate, for the tier list and yourself.
You're not going to ask me how I'm doing. That's fine.
You're always all right.
I'm doing just fine. Don't worry. All right, so how we're going to do it, just like last time, tier list. I couldn't find a website that would let us maneuver and do stuff manually. So tier list, easiest way through it. Fever, you can pick who goes first, and we can spend 10 minutes each, and then we'll have an overall discussion at the end.
Right, I'll start off with Jamie. Jamie, give us a team, any team you like.
Ooh, I will go with Leicester.
Take it away, Jamie. Where you think they're going to land?
All right, you want me to put them? Okay, so I would say Leicester are relegation fodder, unfortunately. I actually quite like Leicester as a football club. I don't think they've done enough in the transfer window, and I can see them going down. So I'm going to put them as 19th.
19th position. I'll go next. Steve Cook is in charge there, and he seems to always pull out a miracle. When he was at Forest, he done the same thing, but the points deduction could really give us or give them a serious problem. I make mine short and sweet. I agree with Jamie. I think they're going to go down. I don't think they've got the firepower or the resources to get themselves out of this situation. I think the two other teams that have come up are better than them, even though they actually went on to win the league. So, yeah, relegation for me. Jay, what are you saying?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think they're finishing bottom of the league, personally. Financial problems, as you mentioned. Dewsbury Hall going down, has gone Chelsea, I think he went. Vardy's at the end of his career. Daka didn't do great in the Prem last time, didn't set the Championship on fire. I don't think they've got enough. I don't think they've done enough. So I've got them bottom of the league.
Lucas?
Yeah, for me, I've got them bottom. Lost too many pieces, in my opinion. Point deduction coming as well. It's going to hit for them, and I just don't really see them swimming their way out of the bottom. 19th, if they're lucky, in my opinion.
That is pretty short and sweet. Right, I'll go next. I'll pick a team. I'm going to say Newcastle. Right, and it's going to be interesting to see where we all think Newcastle's going to land. I'll let Jay go first and what his thoughts are on it, and I'll give mine last. What are you saying, Jay?
Yeah, Newcastle are an interesting one because they've obviously got a lot of quality. Eddie Howe's done a great job there, but they haven't really got going in the transfer window yet. And history tells us, if you stand still with your squads, then you're going to struggle the next year. There's a lot of talk about them not having European football and maybe could they push on. Well, I don't think they've reinforced in places that they need to reinforce. They've obviously bid a lot for Mark Gay, which would be a brilliant signing, but they're going to have to pay a lot of money for him.
Yeah.
I think Steve Parish said today they've got to pay superstar money if they want a superstar, which I think he's right. I think Gay's top quality. So I've got them 10th to 5th. I've actually got them 7th. I think they'll finish. They'll be knocking about, but I don't think they'll quite have enough to break the top 6 or the top 4 this year.
Jamie?
I'm going to go with 5th for Newcastle, and that goes against exactly what you guys were just saying. But I think there's going to be a few things that are important for Newcastle this year. I think, obviously, you mentioned it right, and you are right in what you were saying in terms of their transfer business hasn't really started. They have got a few understated signings. Obviously, picked up Kelly from Bournemouth. I know they brought in Vlachodimos from Bournemouth and also brought in Lewis Hall permanently. So there's a lot of signings that have come in that are going to bolster their squad. And they're also going to have the return in Sandro Tonali as well, who will be like a new signing. Obviously, they didn't expect to have him come in. I know he's not coming in straight away, but he'll be back eventually this season. And I think Eddie Howe is, clues in the name, I think he's a steady Eddie. I think they have enough this season to get into that top six. And if they do get Mark Guehi here as well, then they'll probably have one of the best, back lines in the league. So for me, I have them 5th.
Lucas, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm going to have them in 10th to 5th. And obviously, when we put all these together at the end, we will try and put them in somewhat of order. But yeah, 10th to 5th, I think, is obviously pretty safe for them. I think if they bring in Guehi, it's going to be a really solid move for them. I think they could push maybe for top 4 again if they bring in someone of that quality to shore up the back line. But as things stand, I think they have decent squad depth. Tonali's coming back, who started off hot before he got banned. And, yeah, I've always had a soft spot for Newcastle. I like their squad. I think they're good, and I think Lewis Hall is going to have a belter every year.
I don't know with Newcastle. Tricky one for me because I look at other teams
and no Europe as well, just like us. So
true.
Not a lot to focus on. They can put their whole heart into the league.
I will say 7th. I'm going to say 7th. I agree with everything what you boys have said about Newcastle. I think Isak is a quality player. They keep him, then he's going to guarantee you goals every single time they play. Guehi, yeah, you've got to play the game, I'm afraid. When you're at like a big club, you've got to start paying big money for big players. So if they do get him, obviously with Botman and other players in there, they're going to be a force. So I will chuck them in at 7th. Thank you very much, Damien.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will shut that out. Damien, thank you very much, mate. £2. Come on, you irons. Right, Newcastle, 7th for me. 10th to 5th. Let's go with another team. Jay, what you saying? Give us a club.
Let's go with Bournemouth.
Interesting one for me.
Yeah, Bournemouth are a super interesting team, and if it wasn't for the fact they've just lost Dominic Solanke, I'd probably have them higher than this.
Mm-hmm.
I've got them 11th to 17th. I think they've not done a huge amount. They haven't replaced Solanke yet. I think Iraola's done a fantastic job at Bournemouth, and he's a really, really good manager. I think this season for them feels like another year where they just try and consolidate, try and stay in the Prem, try and do nothing too crazy. And I can see them, if they finish, I've got them 13th. If they finish around there, anywhere in mid-table, I can see them trying to make a big push for top half next season. So I think they'll have a good season. I think 13th for Bournemouth is really, really good. And it will all depend on who they sign up front, to be honest. So yeah, that's where I got Bournemouth.
Jamie?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I've got them in. I think if I'm being specific, I'd have them in 13th in the league. I know they've just put in a bid for Vitor Roque from Barcelona, a 19-year-old kid, promising guy, could come in, and it's a bit of an unknown entity, of course. But when you're like a club like Bournemouth, the harsh reality of losing Dom Solanke is you're just losing goals. So it's going to be who replaces those goals in the league for him. But I think because of his loss, and if they don't replace him, I think they're going to have a tough season. But I don't think they'll get relegated because I think there's 3 worse sides in the league than them. So for me, 13th.
Lucas?
I think we're all pretty much on the same page. When being precise, I've actually got them 12th. I think I just think Areola is gonna do it again. Let's be honest. As long as they stay up, I think they'll be fine, and then they can reinvest the Solanke money, staying up, league money as well. And I think they have potential to cook the season after next if they stay up. But yeah, I like the way he runs things, attacking football, and I think their back line is a bit underrated. I think they go slept on a little bit, but yeah, I think they'll be fine. I have them 12th, precisely, just because even though they right now without Solanke, it doesn't scream much to me. I still think they're a bit better than some of the other mid-table clubs, just based off coaching, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Right, I was going to get to the comment. James, I want to give you a huge praise. We've got a huge respect for what you've built in this channel, the community as well. We'll never forget listening to them late night spaces for the last few years. Yeah, me and Jamie have spoke about spaces. Don't do that. They're bad. Right? That's what I'm going to say on that. But listen, I appreciate the support. That's one thing I will say, yeah. And listen, this channel's for everyone, not just for the boys and me and Mitch and Alf and all the other lads. This is for everyone. So anyone wants to come on here, they're more than welcome to come on here. Bournemouth for me. If you replace Dominic Solanke with Eddie Nketiah, I think Bournemouth will be fine. Now, Bournemouth are looking at him currently right now, and I think that'd be a good signing for them. I think Eddie needs that move, and he will score goals.
Is it you now as well that they got the one striker from La Liga? I think he's decent as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say 13th. I'm gonna be honest, like around that sort of area. I think they will nick a few games at home and get the odd games away from home. But like Jamie said, they're too good to go down because there's other teams that are worse. So that is Bournemouth. Right, Lucas, pick a team, mate.
Let's go with. Let's go with. You know what? We're gonna save some big hitters for last, but I'm very curious about Everton. What are we all saying about Everton?
Jay, I'll let you go first, mate. Go on.
I've got them going down. I think this is the season. I think as far as Everton are concerned, they just lost who I think was their best player last year in Amadou Onana. I nearly called him Andre after that clip of him at the Euros.
Yeah.
Amadou Onana, I think, was their best player. They've lost him. They haven't replaced him. FFP issues are rearing their ugly head again. It doesn't look like they're making any major moves. I know they got Jake O'Brien in from Lyon, who I think is a good signing, but is he going to be enough? I don't think so.
And you want them to go into next season in a nice, lovely new ground playing championship football.
This is the thing, and
I
don't want it for them, but I sadly think it's going to happen. I've got no issues with Everton whatsoever, but I think they've been flirting with danger for a long time now, and losing such a key player who's been so good for them and needing to probably hold that money back in some respect is going to hurt them. And I've got them really struggling this year, and I think this is the year for them, sadly.
Lucas, I'll let you go next. What are you saying?
I mean, yeah, really, let's be honest. Relegation to about, I would say, 16th, 15th. I think any predictions, any of those teams could go down, really. And I think Everton are going to flirt with relegation again, and it's all going to come down to Dyche ball again, because I really don't see them making any more signs. I know they got the one player from Italy, I think Lindstrom or something. I can't remember his name, but he seems to be promising, but they need a bit more. Beto, not it for me. Calvert-Lewin, always hurt, but again, he's a stroke of luck. Never really finds incredible form, and losing Onana wasn't great. I know I've seen a lot of Everton supporters say they don't think he's going to be a big loss. I disagree. I think he's a quality player, and really all you got left is Decore, Dwight McNeil. Back line isn't too bad, but again, scoring goals from him is going to be a problem. In my list, I have them 16th. But they're going to be flirting.
I agree with you. I agree with everything what you just said. I make mine short and sweet. Find out with Jamie. I don't think they're going to score enough goals, and I think that what you just said, spot on. Dyche ball will get them out of trouble. That's one thing with that geezer. He guarantees your safety, doesn't he? To a point, especially with Everton. So I'll make mine short and sweet. I'm going to say 16th, 15th around that bracket. I don't see them being like just above. I think they will get away with it. But yeah, Jamie, what are you saying, mate?
Yeah, I'll go 15th, 16th in the league. I think you mentioned it yourself, Lucas, about their backline being so good. Well, their backline was one of the best in the league last year in terms of, the goals they conceded. I think they were like 5th or 6th best in the league, and that was what kept them in the division, coupled with pragmatic football from Sean Dyche. And I just can't see Sean Dyche getting relegated from the Premier League. Amadou Onana, I'm not 100% sure he's going to be a huge loss. I'm not. I know he's gone for a lot of money as well, and that's going to allow them to potentially bring in a few other players and whatnot. And I know they have picked up some players that you've already mentioned, but for me, I think they're defensively too good and they'll be too solid to ship too many goals to get relegated. So for me, again, there are 3 far worse sides than Everton in the league for me, and I think they'll get 15th or 16th.
I agree on that. Jamie, pick a team, mate.
I'm going to go with Ipswich Town.
Yeah. Jamie, we'll take it away then, mate.
Do you know what? I'm going to have them in 17th. They're going to stay up by the skin of their teeth. They are going to stay up by the skin of their teeth. Kind of because, this is kind of wishful thinking in a way as well. I want Ben Johnson to do well. And I think they've got a lot of... they've got a manager that's obviously highly sought after. They've kind of everyone loves a kind of a Cinderella story where they've
Yeah.
they've punched above their weight in the Championship and probably got into probably got promoted when no one expected them to, and everyone watched them doing well in the Premier League. So I don't really necessarily have the most in-depth analysis for you, but I want them to stay up for vibes, And I think again they're a bit of an unknown entity.
That's the only measurement I go off of.
Yes, vibes. They're playing for vibes. So obviously, I think 17th is doable, and if they do that, it's an absolute achievement. And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for them to be in the Premier League.
I'll go next. Obviously, being in Suffolk quite a lot with the missus up here, I see many Ipswich fans, and they are buzzing to be back in the Premier League. I'm not going to lie.
Mustard as well for you.
Yeah, a lot of owl, just put it like that, and bitter around this area. But what I'm going to say is, I think they're going to do better than 17th. I don't know why. I look at them and I think if McKenna doesn't be stubborn in his approach and does change things around and sets up in ways against different opposition, I think they'll be fine. I really do. I actually, if you want a bet in the chat, get them to stay up, because I really do think they will stay up.
What are the odds on that?
I'm not too sure, but I think it's pretty decent, because I think they're 8 to 11 to go down, so they're second favourites to go down. So whatever it is, it'd be the reverse. So for me, I agree with what Jamie's saying. Obviously, Ben Johnson's there. They have got a good side. Like they've got good, hard-working players. And Portman Road is, if they can keep Portman Road as a fortress, then they will be fine. Obviously, playing Manchester City and Liverpool first two games, in one way, I think that's going to benefit them.
Yeah, they'll get acquainted quite quick.
Yeah, but what I do think is they're going to get them other teams out of the way, and then they can concentrate on the other teams who are around them. And I look at them, I look at Leicester, I look at Southampton, I look at Everton, I look at Forest. They can beat all them teams. They really can. So do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to say, I'm going to say 15th or 14th. I think they're going to surprise me. I really do. Trust me. I said it a few years ago.
Vibes are immaculate right now. Goodness.
I'm going to be honest. If they score goals and they keep Portman Road as a fortress, they stay up comfortable, in my opinion. Jay, what you saying, mate?
Lads, I'm about to piss on some bonfires here.
Good, because if you weren't, I was going to.
Look, I'm all for vibes, boys. I'm all for them. But for me, I think they're going to... I agreed with everything that Jamie said, but I think they're going to be like a last-day casualty. They complete my bottom three. You've got my bottom three out there already, so I'm probably going to hold another L here, which I'm fine with. I'm all for vibes, lads. I agree. I want Jono to do well, and I think he's going to be their star player this season. They signed Jacob Greaves and they signed Liam Delap, two really, really good signings, but they don't have the Premier League proven player who's going to be a game changer for them. For me, I don't think they've got it, and so sorry to kill the vibes, everyone. I've got Ipswich in 18th.
But
I think
do they have though, Jay? But do they have a Premier League manager? Because I think. You've got a Premier League manager.
But the thing I look at with that is how many managers have absolutely torn a championship apart with beautiful football. They remind me of not only Burnley last year, I think Blackpool a number of years ago, and they were brilliant for the first half of the season, and then they sank like a stone and got relegated. So it's one thing to play really nice football in the championship and be a brilliant championship side. But we know that when those teams come up, exactly what you said, James, is they have to change their approach and they have to be a bit more pragmatic. And if he's stubborn and he tries to stick with free-flowing football, it doesn't work. There's so many better teams than them. So I think they're going to be fun to watch. And I agree with you, Portman Road's going to be a difficult place to go. But I think they're just going to miss out, and they complete the bottom three for me.
Lucas, go on, mate.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think they're just going to miss out. I don't have them rock bottom. Maybe a bit lucky because Leicester's going to get point deduction. But as a squad, I kind of like what they're building, but I don't know if they have the players to stay up. I don't question the management and the tactics. I don't think they have enough quality. Like when you've got Chaplin, who plays in the 10, which I think he's a decent player, but he's going to be their main creator. Liam Delap, obviously unproven, a bit hopeful. Omari Hutchinson looks to be a prospect as well. But the defense, I don't know. And I want to give them a bit of hope, kind of like Luton, because Luton was very close to staying up as well. Just that little bit at the end of the year really cost them. But I don't think they're better than Luton, personally. But I do want them to stay up. because I am a vibes guy. I want them to stay up, but I don't.
But
will.
they have got a better manager than Luton, though, mate. Like when I look at McKenna, he's a good manager. You don't get linked with
Edwards is decent too, and I don't know. That's not a bad shout, but I think if McKenna wants to prove his stake, obviously back-to-back promotions, really good. But I think if he wants to stake his claim, they're going to have to stay up this season. But I don't disagree. I think he's a decent manager. I have them 18th.
18th in the league. Right, let me pick a team. Aston Villa, lads. We've got them at the weekend. Where we stand about Aston Villa? Jamie, I'll let you go first on this one.
6th in the league for me. I think outside of West Ham, I think Aston Villa have probably done the best business in the window. Some of the players they have brought in, I think, are going to really facilitate the Unai Emery side. I think Ian Matson's a great signing. I think Amadou Onana, as much as I said he's not a big loss for Everton because of the way they play, I think he'll be a big gain for Everton. And they've picked up a lot of academy players from other sides in the Championship as well, who have obviously had good seasons and whatnot. And I think they'll build on the success that they've had. It will just be whether they can maintain European, Champions League football alongside a league campaign. And I think that could be the one thing that could be their comeuppance in a way that we saw with Newcastle last year. But I think they are more well equipped to do that this year with the size of their squad and what they have. So for me, I'd have them 6th in the league.
I'm going to be different. I am going to say 9th. I think Champions League ruins them to a point. I think when you're playing, when we all know it, like when you're playing European competition, you're away in Turkey or Hungary or somewhere, and then you've got to come back, and then you might be in like Newcastle or Southampton. It's going to affect them along the line. And not only that, if they do get out of the sort of Champions League situation and probably end up in the sort of Europa League, for instance, which they could do, then for me, they're going to be consistently playing all year, and eventually that's going to catch up with them. So I'm going to say 9th. I think I agree with what Jamie says. The business that they've done is good. Don't forget they've got Philogene there from Hull. I think they signed Archer again. They got him back there. They've signed some really good players. Obviously, the Juventus lad, Junior, and a few others. So I'm going to say 9th. I think Emery has done well last season, but I think this season you can't do both and maintain it. It just, and then not only that, you've got League Cup games, FA Cup games. Eventually, something's going to give, and I think it gives in the league. So I'm going to say 9th. Jay, what are you saying?
I couldn't agree more, mate. I had them banging 9th as well for exactly the same kinds of reasons. But to caveat it, I think my 6th to 9th are all very, very, very close. I think that race for most of those European spots is pretty wide open. I agree. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, is it the extended Champions League starts this year? So there's more group games than there was previously. So fixture congestion is going to hit them really, really hard. Tiredness will hit them in the second half of the season. So I agree they've bought well, but I think with the type of manager Emery is, I think they're going to go all out to try and get deep into the Champions League. And I think ultimately it will hurt them. I've got them finishing 9th as well, mate.
Lucas?
In my predictions, I got them 5th, only because I think their squad depth is really good. And I think they're better. I think they're better than United, Newcastle, Chelsea, us. I think they're better than Tottenham to a point. Really, the only thing that's going to hinder them is Champions League football. And really, just like Newcastle, it all depends. If they get grouped, they could finish 5th, maybe 4th. But if they go far enough, you could see them tailing down towards 8th, 9th, 10th. But I think Emery's a quality manager. I think they have a quality squad. And Emery, in my opinion, is smart enough that his rotation is going to work well throughout the season. So I'm going to have them 5th. And I think they do make it out their group.
5th in the league. Lucas, do you want to pick a team?
Yes, I will go. Let's go for someone else. Let's go another mid-table maybe squad. Let's go Brighton. Brighton and Hove.
I'll go first on this one. I think this is the team that's going to be dropping down into the bottom half. Like I looked at the odds at them the other day, and I couldn't believe it. They're just behind us to finish in the top half. And I look at them and I think, new manager, 31 years old, never been in the Premier League, and he's going to hit him like a ton of bricks. Obviously, up against top end managers, he done well at St. Pauli. Don't get me wrong, and he's highly rated, this geezer, but for me, the Premier League's a different level. It really is. I will say they were going to finish about 12th. I don't see them top half, and I think it's going to be a stop-start one for them. I see what Oscar just said there, 13th. Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. So it's either 12th or 13th for me, in this whatever one it is. Jay, what you saying?
Mate, I'm going to echo you. I completely agree. I think I don't know like how long they can follow this policy of pluck managers that nobody really knows anything about to come in and play some crazy style of free-flowing football, and how long it will work for. And I wish I had some more analysis about their squad, but they seem to just sign players that I've never heard of, that I've never seen play before. Other than this Ibrahim Osman, I was like, where do I know that name from? And he was obviously linked with us. So I don't know a lot about them this year. I don't know much about their manager. I agree. I don't know whether he's going to step up and do what Brighton have been doing for the last few years, but I think they've got enough about them where they'll be fine. But I agree. I think this is the start of a little period of decline for Brighton, and I've got them 12th as well.
Jamie?
I've got them banging mid-table in 10th. Again, you've taken the words straight out of my mouth in terms of the players that they brought in, Jay. I think they've also brought in Yankuba, is it Minty as well, or Minte? Yeah. From Feyenoord as well, who had a great season in the Eredivisie last year. Again, I think Brighton are probably you could argue they're probably the most well-run club in the Premier League, and they have a high turnover of players all the time because everyone always picks up their big players, and I can't see this being the end of that. I think they've kept the core of their team together. Obviously, I think Pascal Gross has gone. But they've also brought in a few starlets and whatnot, and they whenever they do tend to do that, they always tend to perform. And I think players like Adingra are going to come and have bigger seasons. I can see Matoma coming back and being a bigger player. I can see João Pedro having a good season as well. So I think for them, I think mid-table is going to be good as well. They've got no European football this year, which is probably what held them back last year in terms of the size of the squad that they had. It's mid-table for me.
Lucas, what are you saying?
Yeah, I've got them 11th. So we're all not too far apart, but yeah, I echo Jamie. And you got to think about Evan Ferguson as well. He's injured right now, but he'll be coming back in, I think, October-ish. But I think with Brighton, there's a lot of question marks, but I think they have the correct amount of quality players in important positions. Like João Pedro, Evan Ferguson, they can definitely score goals for you. Matoma out wide, Adinga out wide. Lewis Dunk in the back to anchor things down a bit. If they still have Joel Veltman, I love Joel Veltman. I think he's an absolute quality player. Weird shout, I know. But I only say that because every time he played West Ham, he always puts in a masterclass against us. And then Estupiñán as well. I know he's hurt, but they'll let Barco, that Argentinian, shine maybe. So I just, again, it's more of I think they have more quality than some of the other squads. And I think because of their new manager and the insane tactics they play, I think this season they'll be able to finish above other clubs we think might be better. But then if they stay up, they'll probably get found out a bit this season after next. So I have them 11th.
11th in the league. Mike Theory, thank you very much, mate. My Greek compadre. Use this towards your next bet builder evening. Oh, thank you very much, Mike. I will. Kudus, both teams to score, West Ham to win. There you go. There's a little bet builder for you. Jay, pick a team, mate, for us.
We're looking a bit empty up the top, aren't we? So should we reel out one of the first bigger names? I'm going to say Manchester United. And let's see where we fit on this. I actually had to think about this quite a lot because I've changed my opinion on the race for top four in Europe like so often over the last few days. I actually think they're going to finish fourth this year. I think sticking with Erik ten Hag was the right decision. And we've seen with Manchester United over a long period that when they chop and change and they don't settle and they make rash decisions in the transfer market,
they just go backwards.
Exactly that. And they sort of have to start again. And keeping Ten Hag was the right decision. And the signings they've made, I think, have all been really sensible signings. They've combined Lenny Yoro with De Ligt, which I think is two very good signings at different parts of their career. Mazraoui is a good signing. I think Josh Xerxes is a good signing. I think they're just going to be solid and they're going to gradually improve. So I think they're going to be the team that scrape fourth place this year.
Lucas.
In my predictions, I got them 6th. I think they'll improve off last season, but again, I don't know how much. I agree with Jay. I think stick with Ten Hag was correct. But at the same time, we all kind of get it. Like, at a big club like that, they do have complete different standards to us. But sometimes are they unrealistic, realistic? That's up for debate. But I think sticking with Ten Hag was correct. They brought in some decent players, I think. Just injuries for me will be the key, because I know Maguire's hurt right now. Luke Shaw just got injured. Poor Luke Shaw. I do love watching him play, but he's always hurt. It's just they have the players. I just think I think Ten Hag has had the time now where I think some of the players that come in, they'll understand the way they have to play, the way they will play. And I think they will improve, just not that much. So I got them in 6th.
I'll go next. I'll leave Jamie till last. For me, Man United are a few bad defeats away from a crisis, and it happens every single season. I think they've got to rein in their expectations.
That's just another day in the office for us.
I know, but with them, it is a real sort of self-destruction. Do you know what I'm saying? I think if they start slow, Ten Hag's gone by Christmas. I really do, because I think now they're running out of excuses to keep him, so to speak. I think they've signed some decent players, but the only thing with Man United is that they're just not there. They're just not there. For me, I'm going to say 5th. I think they might have a half-decent-ish season. They have got Europe and all. Do you know what I mean? So 5th or 6th around that bracket. We will sort that out at the end. But I don't know. Sometimes I look at Man United and I think they should be further up. But I don't know what's holding them back. Is it the manager? Is it certain individuals?
They've got the players. I just think it's the infrastructure as well. I mean,
they've got the midfield though, Lucas. That's the thing. The midfield is light.
I think they do. I think they do now. But again, it all depends. I think the infrastructure is just so bad there. And again, I only know that because my best mate supports United, and we both just console each other with all of our problems. But again, his problems are way different than mine.
Yeah. Jamie, take it away, mate.
I've got Manchester United at 7th in the league. I think they need more. I think Eric Ten Hag. I think they need more than Eric Ten Hag. They need Eric 20 Hag. There we go. I need to get one out there. To me, I think obviously going into the Community Shield on the weekend, obviously they started with Johnny Evans, great player. I know they've obviously then brought in De Ligt since then. I know they've brought in Yoro and whatnot, but he's injured. And I think they just need more to sustain any sort of challenge on the top 4. And I think they're far off it. I really do. For me, I still think they'll finish above us, but I've got them at 7th.
Someone said that to me the other day. Before we move on, it's like the Twilight Zone with West Ham and Man United. It seems like when they do bad, and we're doing great, they always finish above us. Somehow it's just like I don't know how it happens. So I will pick a team now. I'm going to say Crystal Palace, Lucas.
All right. What are we saying, Fever? You go first.
This one is a tricky one because last season they was like a train finishing up. Obviously Glasner's in charge there. They've lost Eze. Elise, sorry. Eze's still there. They've signed some decent players and they look a real outfit. For me, I think they finish in the top half, I think they finish, when I look at Brighton and I see Brighton's odds and I look at Palace, I think Palace look the better side under Glasner. I'm going to say around between 10th and 5th. So I'm going to say either 10th or 9th for me. Obviously that will change in the foreseeable, but I like what he's doing, Glasner. Obviously he smashed us to bits the second game from last season, and we all knew about it. So I think they're a good side, signed some good players, and if Gary goes, then that might dent them. But I think the money that they get for him, they will already have a replacement rigged up. Jamie, what are you saying for Palace?
The only thing better than watching that was actually being there.
Yeah, I know. It was it was bad, apparently.
Yeah.
Jamie, what are you saying?
Yeah, I've got them in the 11th to 17th bracket, and I'd be comfortable in putting them in around 11th, if I'm honest, in terms of being in the higher positions there. Obviously, you mentioned it yourself. Michael Olise is a huge loss for them, but I think they have kind of replaced him as best they can with Ismail Assar. Obviously, was great at Watford and hasn't really gone right for him at Marseille and whatnot. But I think we've seen him do it in the Premier League before, and hopefully he can then replicate that for Crystal Palace. And I think they are a solid outfit. You know, like I know they picked up Kamada for free from Lazio, who's a great signing. I wouldn't have been against West Ham trying for him, for example. So I think I like their manager. I like the manager's footwear specifically. So if we're talking vibes, we've got vibes. So yeah, no Michael Olise is difficult, but I think they've replaced him as best they can. And for me, 11th is doable, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on the Kamada one. I'd have loved him at West Ham. I think Palace picking him up, he does show a bit of a statement there. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a very good player.
The days of almost having Kostic and Kamada come to West Ham after they absolutely dog walk us the year prior.
Yeah, Lucas, take it away for Palace, mate.
Palace for me, I got them bang on 10th. A lot of it does hinder on whether Gahey leaves or not. But even if he does, I feel like they'll still be a bit solid. I do like Kamada coming in. I think it'll take a little bit of time for him to adjust, but under Glasner, I think he will. He obviously knows how to play under his system, and I think he just has to get used to the physicality a bit and whatnot. But, I mean, let's not be around the bush. Palace, they have a good squad. Their starting 11 is pretty good. And I think Adam Warrington is just going to continue to shine, and who knows? I think he might be the next £100 million player, and I think rightfully so. I think he's so good. And, yeah, I like Palace. I just think they're solid, and I think the way they play is good. So, 10th for me.
Jay?
Yeah, I agree. I've got them 10th as well. I did think about them as being a little bit of a surprise package. But then, as you've, not to repeat myself, to repeat what you gents have said, Olise changing for Sarr is a bit of a downgrade. Not only Gahey, but Joachim Andersen is subject of a lot of interest from Fulham as well, and Fulham are in desperate need of centre-backs. So I reckon they'll really push hard to try and get Joachim Andersen. We could be in a position as West Ham fans where they're playing against us and their first two centre-backs have just left the club. That's a very realistic concept, and that's going to be really, really hard for Palace to get over.
We need revenge.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have actually thought about putting them a little bit higher, but I think they'll have a really good season. I think they'll finish 10th. Anywhere like from 9th to 13th, I think would be a really, really good season for them. So yeah, I've got them
10th. Jamie, pick a team, mate.
Nottingham Forest.
Whoa.
18.
Jamie,
18. And down.
What you say, Jamie, about Forest?
£41 million on Elliot Anderson is baffling business, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. First and foremost, I like the pickup of Nikola Milenkovic from Fiorentina. I like Jota Silva. Obviously, they got him when we were linked with him for a long time. I just think that last year they weren't very good in the league. You know, like I think they finished in 17th last year, and they flattered to deceive a lot of the season. I know they had a lot of players going forward, like Callum Hudson-Odoi and the Swedish guy who played for Manchester United. His name is escaping me right now. I can't think of his name.
I know you're on about. Yeah, I know you're on about.
Scored a good goal at Chelsea last year. My brain is gone though, but yeah, they got a lot of players going forward that I think can do well. But I'm just not sold on them as a side, and I don't think their business has been good enough. I think they'll get found out this year. I really do. Alanga, that's it. Anthony Alanga. There we go.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll go next. With Forest, it's a weird one because they just seem to always stay up like every single time. Like they look like they go and sign loads of players. Elliot Anderson, I agree with you. Milenkovic is a good signing for them. He really is strong, robust centre half. I think that's what they need. I'm going to say around between 17th and 14th in that bracket. Yeah, it's going to be somewhere along there. So I'll make mine short and sweet. Obviously, the Lingard thing didn't work out many years ago, and we had that rivalry a few years ago with them. But you know, we don't talk about that on this channel no more. Lucas, take it away. It was
I'll never forget that space in my life. That was absolute limbs that space was.
I
But
will say this just for context for everyone who's watching. We've done a space. A load of Forest fans come in and tell us that they've got a new project, and Ingo wants to come for the project.
some verified reporter as well when you couldn't buy a blue check.
But it was what it was. Lucas, take it away, mate.
Forest, I got them in 15th, but again, for me, anywhere from like 19th to 15th, I think is the flip of a coin who's going to get relegated. But again, Forest, they're a weird one where they spend a load of money, usually not in the smartest way, but I think this window they finally maybe thought a little bit, and they've had some decent signings, and not much for me. I think Gibbs White, Alanga, they're gonna carry him to safety just by the skin of their teeth. Like I said, I think 17th to 15th, 18th, whatever. It's going to be a flip of a coin. And I think they'll scrape again. So it won't be comfortable, but I got them staying up at 15th.
Jay?
Nottingham Forest, sadly, Jamie, are the team that derail your vibe train on the last day of the season and relegate Ipswich Town. I think that Jota Silva, Gibbs White, Alanga is actually a really, really good attacking three there. And I think they'll struggle, but have just enough to break your heart, Jamie. And I've got them in 17th.
I don't dislike them, to be clear. I used to live in Nottingham. I actually quite like Forest. I've got nothing against people from the city of Nottingham as well. I love your city, but I just don't think
the only Hooters in the UK. So you get praise from me.
Great way to say that, yeah.
Ironically, I've been, yeah.
Great days. Jamie, pick a team, mate.
Oh, I'll go again. Let's go with Spurs. Tottenham Hotspur. I've got them finishing fourth.
This one's it's going to hurt for me. I agree.
I like Spurs. I think I like their manager. It pains me to say it. I like their manager. I like their side. I think they got a lot of youth coming through. I think they've signed quite well this window as well. And I think they had a good season last year. I think, Dominic Solanke is a great signing. Archie Gray is a great signing. Lucas Bergvall is a great signing. I think all these kind of players come into their side and, add something to the squad. And yeah, I think they've got some of the best. I think they've probably got one of the best defenses in the league, if we're being honest. I think Christian Romero is really cleaned up the last year or two. Sorted out his discipline record. Looking like one of the best centre backs in the world, let alone the league. We've got Van der Ven again, looking like the signing of one of the signings of the window. Vicario, one of the signings of the window. Adogi, Pedro Porro. Their midfield is stacked. Their front line is stacked. I think they were missing a real goal scorer, and it looks like they've picked up Solanke, who's Premier League proven now. Hopefully, he can then do that at Spurs. Well, I say hopefully, but you get my drift. Yeah. For me, I think Spurs have got top four in their sights this year.
I'll go next. The only thing with Spurs, is that I think Andy's under a lot of pressure this season. I think last season they give him benefit of the doubt to where he landed. I think this season they expect to be up there. I'm not convinced. I think they finish in the top six, but I don't think they finish in the Champions League positions. Yeah. I think Solanke is a good signing, but it's like everything. He's all right there at Bournemouth, but was Bournemouth his level? Or is Tottenham going to be a bit too much for him? Like we've seen it before. He was at Liverpool before, and obviously had to move to Bournemouth to then go back to Spurs. So I get that. Maybe I'm being a bit sort of negative because they're Spurs, but I'm going to say 6 for me. I think they're a good side, even though it pains me. I do think they're a good side, but I think Angie's way of playing, he plays one way, and if that one way don't work, he ain't got a plan B for me. So I say 6. Jay, what you saying?
I lean more towards Jamie on this one. I think they've built really well on the first season under Ange, and I've actually got them in 3rd. I think they're going to have a really, really good season this year. I don't think they're going to put loads of emphasis on the Europa League. I think they can afford to probably rest players. I actually looked at the lineup in that competition, or the projected lineup in that competition. I think they're one of the best teams in it quite comfortably. And I think Archie Gray will be the breakout star of this Premier League season. I think he's going to be absolutely unbelievable for Tottenham. Combined with exactly what Jamie said, Solanke's joined. I think they've trimmed some of the squad players that weren't quite up to it as well. Emerson Royale, Rodon, Sessegnon, they released on a free. There's some really, really good transfer business, and I think they're a really good side. So I've got them in 3rd.
Lucas, what you saying?
For me, the only thing that stops Spurs from finishing fourth, I think, is Big Ange, in my opinion. It's weird because, like Jamie said, I actually really think they have a very good back line. It's just the tactics that hold them back a bit. And I think if Ange can somehow, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a plan B, but if at times, if they can just slow it down a bit, get a bit more solid, I think they really could push on because the back line is really good. And Udogie, I think, is very underrated as well. I think him and Porro, it might be a top 4 like fullback duo in the league for me. It's really good. But it does pain me. I think they're going to finish fourth. I just think with Solanke, I'm not going to say hit the ground running, but I think he's going to fit in seamlessly. Like, he got opportunities at Bournemouth, and with the way Spurs play, he's going to have loads and loads of chances. And I just think, and Madison coming back as well after not a great so far season. He was hurt a bit, but they've got the players. I think they're going to finish fourth, sadly.
Yeah, I know. Let's hope not. Let's hope not, please. For the love of God, I can't hear all them going on about how great they are. Right, we will move on to the other North London club. I will go next. Arsenal. I see back of the net, Matt is in the chat, so we're going to talk about Arsenal. I'm going to let Jay go first in what he thinks.
Yeah,
Arsenal.
I'm Denard with this one. I think it's the same again as last season. I think they'll be second again. I don't think they've got enough to get it over the line. I think to kind of, there's only one team that are winning the league for me again. I think City are just a machine. I think Pep's a genius. And I think Arsenal have done a little bit of business. That Calafiori, I think, is a good signing. But I don't think they've done enough for me. And I think they're going to be heartbroken again. I expect them to push City the whole way once again, but I think City will have too much again, and it's second place for them.
Jamie?
Same. That's how I feel right now.
This is wishful thinking. They're going down. Me, it's difficult. I think they've probably got the best defense in the league now with Calafiori picking him up. But it's very hard to bet against City. I think if any season was going to be the season where Arsenal do go ahead and actually win the title, it probably has to be this one, because if it isn't, then some of their best players are probably going to start getting picked up from Real Madrid or whatnot. So for me, I'm going to put them in second.
I'll go next. I agree with both of Jay and Jamie. I think they're a striker, a centre forward, quality centre forward away from winning the league. I just don't think they've got that striker there who can bang in the goals, and I think they rely too much on Saka and obviously Eldegaard also, and obviously Rice. Rice is going to be a key player for them.
Need a striker as well, badly.
They do, right? And I look at Deck this season. I think last season he was a bit held back because of the West Ham Arsenal thing. It was his first season. I think this season he breaks out into being an Arsenal player, fully Arsenal player, and all that right to bed. Yeah, which is sad. But I'm going to say second. I think anyone going up against Manchester City, you are a machine. You just don't win. Man City can go and win game, and Arsenal will go and win game, and then draw one, and that'll be it. So yeah, second for me. Lucas, what are you saying?
It hurts. I'm gonna have to rip the Band-Aid off because I can't have it happen like last season. So I think Arsenal are going to do it this season, and that really pains me. Matt is a really nice guy, but I absolutely cannot stand this club. I can't stand anything about them. They just
let it off your chest, Lucas.
They disgust me to the highest degree. But again, let me reemphasize: Matt, great guy, nice lad, but I can't stand Arsenal. So this one genuinely really hurts for me. I think they're finally going to do it. I just think the way Arteta is, in the way, and again, I think he's a decent manager. I don't think he's amazing, but it's a mentality thing. And obviously, Pep, elite mentality. He has the best mentality going. But with Arteta, I just feel like with the players he's brought in from last season and right now, I just feel like they know what has to be done. There's only one goal from last season, and that's to win the league. Anything else, I think, is a disappointment, unless they win the Champions League, obviously, as well. But I hate betting against Pep, but something in the air, which disgusts me, tells me they're going to win it all. Yeah. It's going to be tight again last day.
Luke, go on, Jamie.
But I will put them top 4 because I can't. It hurts putting them top.
Well, if anything's going to help Arsenal win the title, it's the pickpockets that Arteta got in.
Yes.
So,
what a weirdo.
They're definitely right now, aren't they? Cheers, Mikel. Appreciate that, mate.
That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard in sport. Like, I still to this day think of that. Even when he put the speakers out on their training grounds to simulate the Anfield atmosphere, I thought that was
crazy.
weird. But having someone go and nick all the valuables off your players just to teach them to be aware is one of the strangest things I've ever heard of.
And I'm sorry, I love dogs, but bringing a dog onto the complex and naming him Win, fuck off. Honestly, how cringe is that?
That is, listen, if we done that at West Ham, mate, he'd be slaughtered, trust me. Right, let's, Lucas, pick a team, mate.
We got some decent ones left. I'm going to go with Wolves, and I don't know if I'm the only one, but I actually have Wolves going down. Even though I love Gary O'Neill, and they have money to spend, I just don't know if they're going to convince enough quality to come in at the end of the window. And I think right now, their strongest 11, it's not really speaking to me, if I'm being honest. But again, if they do stay up, I think it's going to be by the grips of Gary O'Neill, well and truly.
Do you know what? I'll go next. I agree. I think Wolves are the dark horses. One of them who there's always a team that surprise you in the league. That sort
honestly,
of
it was between Forest and Wolves for me.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I look at Gary O'Neill. He had a really good season last year. Obviously, they've just lost Neto, who's a big player for them. I look at them and I just think if it doesn't click straight away for Gary O'Neill, then it's what's he like in a relegation dogfight? Like last season, he surprised everyone. But has he got the ability to get out of a relegation dogfight? I don't think he has.
With the players he has right now, I don't think so.
Yeah. And I'm just not convinced. That's one. Like, if I was having a punt, and anyone who's sort of watching this right now, as a dark horse, I would say Wolves to go down as an outside punt. Like for me, I just look at them. I just don't see where the goal. I look at the goals. Like obviously they've got Gomez in the middle of the park, but I just don't see. I see them struggling, if I'm being honest. So yeah, definitely bottom half. So wherever you want to put them, Lucas. Jamie, what are you saying about Wolves?
I put them in the 11th to 17th bracket, and quite frankly, I'd struggle to see where to put them in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they finished 17th, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finished like a 14th or a little bit higher. I think obviously you mentioned Pedro Neto leaving. There's obviously a big loss to them, but he did miss 18 games last year. I think he only got like a couple goals in the league. So I think their real loss for them will probably be Max Kilman. And there's mixed reviews from Wolves fan about him actually leaving and whatnot, but that's their captain and he was top of all the charts last year for them. So losing your captain is never easy. But I think they've got enough just to stay in the Premier League, just because I think the quality of sides around them might not be as good as them. So I'll put them in that bracket.
Jay?
I actually thought about this a long time and I changed them right at the last minute. And they're similar to Brighton. I think they're a very well-run club in that they always sell somebody. They don't tend to invest a lot of money. I mean, this is the reason Lopetegui got frustrated, right? Is they just don't invest money, but they still manage to find a way. I think Gary O'Neill is going to be that English manager that becomes the top English manager at some point. I think Eddie Howe is the one at the moment, but I think Gary O'Neill is such a football nerd and such a good football manager that he is the reason that they do so well. And I actually ended up putting them in 11th on the basis that they have to reinvest the Neto money. Similar to what Jamie said, they have to buy another defender. If I was a Wolves fan, I wouldn't be concerned about the goals they score because that's not the way they play. They never score a lot of goals, but they just don't concede a lot. So they'll be that team that have a solid foundation. They're not going to be that exciting, but they'll just get results. And again, to kind of just build on that, my 11th to kind of like 14th was so interchangeable that I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 14th, 15th, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish higher. So yeah, I think O'Neill will lead them to a good finish in 11th.
And they have some decent players in the midfield as well. I just don't think the quality of players around the pitch is too scattered. Like their midfield's not strong. Their defense is solid, but to a point. And then really you got Cunha up top all by himself.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Jamie, pick a team, mate.
Oh, who've we got left? Let's go with. Oh,
We got Brentford, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, City, Southampton, West Ham.
I will go with Liverpool. I'm going to have Liverpool in third, I think. Which I feel on the fence about saying, I must admit. I think it's very much going to be a transitional season for Liverpool, but I still feel like they have enough quality in their side to upset the big boys. Obviously, they haven't signed anyone yet. I know they're being linked with all sorts of players, and they've been a laughing stock of social media because of the Zubimendi deal, obviously this week and whatnot falling through. But
Love it.
They're still a side that's full of genuine world-class players. You know, they've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah. I think they've got enough to get into the top four still, and I can't see them dropping out. And I imagine their business isn't done for the window. So for me, they're top four.
I've got a question for you, Jamie. Obviously, when I look at Liverpool, I see Salah, Van Dijk, Trent. They've all got a year left. Is that going to affect them down the road a little bit? Because obviously you've got players who sort of 1 year left and Liverpool not offering them a deal. What are you saying on that?
Well, it shoulda, woulda, coulda. I don't really know, to be honest with you, mate. I think some of those players will be playing for another deal, and then some of them will want to move on after. You know, either way, I think, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold is Liverpool born and bred. I can't imagine there's a world where he isn't given 100% for the shirt. Mohamed Salah, 100% is very much Liverpool through and through, kind of rejuvenated his career in a big way. And Virgil van Dijk became Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool. So they're all kind of established as modern Liverpool legends. I can't see whether it's, you know, naive of me or not, because everyone's got a price and it is a job for all footballers. But I feel like they're too much. That Liverpool means too much to all of those players for them to not take a season seriously. And I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if the contract negotiations are undergoing as we speak for at least Virgil van Dijk or at least two of them. So yeah, I don't think it will affect them too much, and I think they have enough in their midfield and their defence and going forward to help them finish top four. You know.
I'll go next. I agree with what Jamie's saying. I think Slot is an unknown sort of quantity to a point. Dutch managers don't really do well in the Premier League. So we know in ZR. So, you know, it's going to be one of them ones where we don't know what we're going to expect from him. I think Liverpool will be in the top four. I'll be very shocked if they finish below the top four. I think I agree with what Jamie said. They've got some top players. Obviously, McAllister's there. One of my most favourite players is Luis Diaz. I think he's a really top quality player, obviously with Núñez. So, yeah, top four for me. I don't think they win the league. I don't think they're good enough to win the league, but I don't think they're bad enough to be fifth, sixth or seventh or even lower than that. So, top four for me. Jay?
I actually don't think they'll make top four for a reason that I've said about a couple of teams. They just haven't bought anyone. And you can't, if you're going to compete at the top end of the Premier League, you cannot stand still. Whoever has ever tried to stand still on their squad has always suffered the following season. And a really, really interesting point when you're talking about those key players who are out of contract next season. And I agree with Jamie. I don't think there's a world where any of them don't give 100% for Liverpool because they clearly all love that club. But I think when it comes to the back end of the season, I personally think Trent Alexander-Arnold is made for Real Madrid. He is such a Real Madrid player in the way that he plays football, and they will be all over him this season to try and get him to sign for them. So I agree he's Liverpool born and bred, but they'll be in his ear from January when they're allowed to be and be trying to talk him out the door. And I don't think he'll deliberately not play to 100%. I think they're still a great side, and I think they'll still do well. But that does start to play on a player's mind. Whenever there's speculation, we know that it will affect the player. And there's going to be three of them, as we've said. I think Salah, will be out the door at the end of the season as well, because he knows he can command a huge fee. He's achieved everything he wants to in his career. And he'll go somewhere like the Middle East, where he can earn a crazy amount of money, get a massive signing on fee, be the best player in the league, and have a great time. And I think Van Dijk's probably done everything he wants to do and will probably go out at the end of the season as well. You combine that with a manager who's never managed in the Premier League, they're going to need to transition. And I think they're going to have a really rocky start to the Premier League. I think they'll ultimately stabilise in the second half of the year. And I've got them in fifth, but I could have gone lower. If I was feeling bold and feeling brave, I would have put them actually a bit lower. But I think fifth's probably fair for them for me.
Lucas.
I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. I got them in third, but I don't disagree with what Jay was saying. It is going to be a bit of a transition, but I think they're going to be a bit more steady and compact with Slot, in my opinion, because Klopp was a bit free-flowing, very counterattacking, very aggressive, but I think Slot's going to bring in some stability where I think they'll be able to see out matches like 2-0, stuff like that. So not very insightful for me, but I think Slot will be all right. Again, it's a case of I just think off quality they're better than most of the other clubs, and they do need to sign some players, but I think with the squad they have now, they're still very strong. And I agree, this could be their swan song, and this season could be very dependent on if certain players stay or not. So for me, I got them third.
Jay, pick a team, mate.
Shall we go Fulham? Let's go Fulham. I think Fulham are in for a really tough time this year. Palini is their best player. Tosin was close to being their best player. They've both gone. They haven't replaced them. So I think they're in for a really, really difficult time, and they've got to start spending money quick. As I mentioned earlier, I actually think Joachim Andersen would be a great signing for them. But if I'm Joachim Andersen, I don't know why I'm joining Fulham. I don't see why you would. Glasner's got a project there. They were playing really well. He's loved at that club. He's been there a while. I don't know why you go to Fulham unless they throw money at him, which they could do. But if I'm Joachim Andersen, I stay there. I don't think they're going to be able to replace Palhinha with anyone close to as good as him. I think Smith Rowe's a great signing, but I ultimately think he's not the character who's going to grab that team by the scruff of the neck when they need a game winner. Or they need someone to, at 2-0 down, go, all right, we need to turn this around and stick it up, people. He's a bit timid and he's a bit shy. So as much as he's got star quality, he's not the leader that they probably need in the absence of two massive players. So I have them as struggling and in a relegation battle. I ultimately think they'll be fine, and I've got them in 16th.
Jamie?
It's hard to disagree with you, to be honest with you, mate. I think the loss of Palhinha is obviously huge. Tosin Adebayo, huge as well, especially going to one of your rivals in Chelsea. I do think Emil Smith-Rowe coming in is a great signing. I think he'll do well for them. And I think Jorge Cuenca from Villarreal will be a good signing. And also seeing Ryan Sessegnon back at Fulham is one of my favourite stories of the summer, because obviously he was a bright player there. Never really worked for him at Spurs, and it's good to see him going back to the club. That kind of made his
brother's
name.
back as well.
Sorry?
I think his brother's back at Fulham as well.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, there you go. So for me, I can see him having a tough season just because I just feel that there's so much quality in this Premier League now. And I feel like that 11th to 17th bracket is so stacked with so much talent. And I can see them being in there in the top and on the bottom. And I know I'm kind of sitting on the fence in that. For me, it's 11th to 17th. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of finish middle of the park, though. So I'll put them in there.
I'll go next. I agree with what both Jay and Jamie have said. I think Smith Rowe's a good signing for them. But Fulham was just a weird one. They always seem to manage to go and beat like a Liverpool at home and then lose to the bottom of the table side like away. So, yeah, I make mine short and sweet. Bottom half, 11th to 17th. If I was to put a number to it, probably about 15th, maybe 15th, maybe 14th at best. So, yeah, Luke, that's what you're saying.
I got them 14th in my predictions. I think they really need a DM and they really need another center half. And I think if they can get that done, I think they'll be fine. I personally kind of like what they're building a bit. I think Smith Rowe is a decent signing. The fee, a bit questionable. So congrats to Arsenal for that again. Arsenal know how to get a fee out of someone, them in City. But I really like Andreas Pereira. I've rated him for a very long time. I think him and Smith Rowe kind of being creative in the middle will be good. They just need someone to anchor them in the midfield, in my opinion. Muniz, I think, will have another decent season. Leno has been under the radar, very good for Fulham. But again, I just don't know if they have enough quality to really push towards 10th, 11th. So I got them 14th.
Let's go Southampton, Lucas. What are we saying about Southampton?
Southampton, for me, I have them staying up slightly by the skin of their teeth, final day type stuff. Just something about Southampton. Like, I'm not that big on Russell Martin, if I'm being honest. I think he gives me Mark Warburton vibes, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
I actually think they have out of the promoted clubs, I think they have the best Premier League quality, and I think they're going to be very stable. I think they're going to be a bit like Everton, but opposite. They're going to have a lot of possession, but they're still going to find trouble to score because I really don't have. They got Armstrong. They sold Shea Adams to Torino, but they've got quality in there. I think enough to stay up, and I really like Harwood Bellis. I really, really, really wanted him at West Ham. I thought he could have been a star for us, but yeah. And if Kyle Walker-Peters stays as well, their back line isn't looking too bad. So I have them staying up by the skin of their teeth, 17th.
I'll go next. First off, I want Flynn to do very well there.
Same.
Like, do you know what I mean? I think him leaving West Ham, where he's won a trophy with us, and he's gone now on to sort of bigger things with them. I want him to do well. I think Southampton, I think Russell Martin is a problem to a point. Right, he really is, because he plays that set way, and he's another one. It doesn't really change, right? And I see it with Swansea. I've seen it with Southampton. I see it in games last season in the Championship. There'd be games where he should go there, set up to sort of not get beat. Excuse me, and he'll just go all out. He'll just go all out and try and like do things that you shouldn't be doing. So I'm going to say, I agree with you. I think they might just get away with it because of other teams, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went down. So I'm going to say 17th with you. Right, I would go around that way.
I think they'll be the best out of the newly promoted clubs, and I think it will be 18th or 17th.
I agree with you with the centre half. I think the centre half, with Bellis. Remember him a few years ago at Burnley, Man City, ex-Man City youth player. Very, very good. I really do like him. I'm glad he's found a permanent club. Jamie, what are you saying for Southampton, mate?
Yeah, they're going down for me. No question about it. No, this is the easiest decision of the day for me. I like Finn Downs.
Vibes for them.
Big fan of him. I just don't think they've signed enough. I think Taylor Harwood Bellis, of course, promising player, but I don't know if he could prove me wrong, and I hope he does. But I don't think they've signed enough Premier League proven quality to go and do well in the league. Ben Brereton Diaz hasn't really ever worked for him in the Premier League. Obviously, he didn't do very well at Sheffield United. It didn't really work for him at Villarreal. I don't really know what the hype about him is. You know, they've signed an unknown quantity in Sugawara. Great on EAFC, but I don't know what he's like on a real football pitch. So I'm not 100% sure about what the Southampton fans are expecting this year. For me, you know, you look at what they have going forward. It's Ben Brereton Diaz and Adam Armstrong. It's like, do you expect a Premier League side to do well over a Premier League season with that being your forward line? I just can't see it personally. For Flynn Downs, I want him to have a good season. I hope they stay up, but I just can't see him finishing anything but the bottom three.
Mm-hmm. Jay,
here's something that's going to change your mind, Jamie.
It's not.
As a man who loves vibes, Adam Lallana returning to Southampton to guide them to what I think is going to be a 15th place finish. Even you can get on the vibe train for this one. I agree with everything that everyone said. I think they're going to be I've got a 6-team scrap down at the bottom, which I think they'll finish 15th. But it could easily be interchangeable with Fulham, Forest, Ipswich. Like any one of those teams could finish anywhere in sort of that area of the table. But I think they'll be okay. I agree with you on Brereton Diaz. It didn't work out for him at Villarreal. He got loaned to Sheffield United pretty quickly. I thought he showed glimpses in a really poor Sheffield United team. He showed glimpses of quality. So I feel like that was his dress rehearsal for his time in the Premier League. And this is the time where it either works or it doesn't. And I think Southampton's the right kind of club for him. I think he'll be loved at St Mary's. I don't think he's going to tear up any trees, but I think he'll do all right. I think Downs is going to have a great season. He's nothing exciting in terms of like Premier League quality, but he'll do enough. And yeah, I've got them probably 15th to 18th, but I think 15th.
Lucas, pick a team, mate.
We'll go with, let's just get this one out of the way. Manchester City. We'll put them at top to make us all feel better, especially after my little rant about Arsenal. But yeah, again, if I'm putting money on it, I'm backing City. It's hard to go against Pep. The squad, it's the same. There could be improvements throughout it, but I think their academy is just going to come through again. I really rate James McAtee, someone I really wanted us to push for, as well as a decent option. Oscar Bob, I think, will have a decent season. He's not going to play loads, but I think he'll be able to fill in the gaps when he has to step up and play. And then, again, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Foden. Like, do I really need to go down the list? So, and Vardiol as well, my Balkan brother. Love him. Yeah. I have them second in my predictions, but I want them to win 4 so badly.
Yeah. I'll go next. I think they've got the best manager. I think they've got the best team. And when you got both, you win the league. For me, Haaland scores your goals. De Bruyne makes the goals. I think their defence is pretty decent to a point. It can do a job. And obviously they've got a top goalkeeper also. And
2.
Yeah, two of them. And they've got Rodri, who don't lose games. So, I make mine short and sweet. I think they win the league. And I think they will start slow, and then they'll build up, and then they'll just do the same thing we've done every season, just steamroll teams. Jamie, what are you saying about Man City?
Yeah, you said it all, mate. The only real question mark I've got around them now is who kind of steps into the hole that Julian Alvarez is going to leave, obviously, and whether they'll go out and replace him, I don't know. I know they've brought in Savinho. Is it Savinho? Yeah, I believe Savinho from a French side. So, yeah, like City is City. They're a well-oiled machine. They've got the best everything, so I can't see anything but a City winning the league again.
Jay?
Yeah, that to build on that Savio lad.
Whatever his name is, he's switched between both.
Yeah. We'll call him whatever we want. He was unbelievable at Girona last year. I got a lot of Spanish friends, and I actually played Spanish Fantasy League last year, which is, by the way, 100 times better than English Fantasy League. It's way better. Savio was up front for me and was just a goal-scoring machine. He was absolutely ridiculous. And you see some of his highlights from last season. He's brilliant. So I don't know where he'll play for. I haven't seen them in pre-season, but they're just an absolute cheat code of a club to be able to bring in a player of that quality for very little money and just roll in these top quality players. Sideshow Bob is going to have his breakout season for City as well. They're just
he's injured, by the way. He's broken his leg today.
Oh, is he? Oh,
yeah.
I'll take that back then. Hope he gets well soon, but they'll still win the league. So yeah, City win it for me.
Yeah, anyone who's got Ireland in their team and De Bruyne, keep both of them fit, and Foden, and everyone else who they got, is what it is. Lucas, pick another team, mate.
Let's go. Which West London club? Let's go Brentford. For me, I got Brentford again. I have them 13th, but they're literally an Ivan Toney selling away from being right in the relegation battle. I think if they keep them, again, it's just going to be Brentford, same old as we've seen the past couple seasons. I do like Thomas Frank, good manager. Ivan Toney's going to bag you goals. Brian Mbeumo, one of my favorite players in the Prem. Adore him, actually. And they're just solid as ever. So if Tony stays, I got him 13th in my prediction.
I'll go next. I agree with you 100%. If Ivan Toney leaves, I think they're in trouble, mate. I don't know why. I look at them and I think you're taking away all them goals, and how are you going to replace that?
And that striker they signed to replace him out for the season.
He's out for the season, yeah. So I'm a bit worried about Brentford. One of my mates is a Brentford fan, and I think when you've got Ivan Toney and Mbeumo and a few others in that side, I think they look pretty good. Take Ivan out of the team like they did last season through to the gambling stuff. At the start of the season, they were poor. And he comes back in January and manages to sort of help them to safety to a point. So if Ivan Toney's not in the side, I think they're going to finish. I think it is like a relegation battle all the way to the end. If Ivan Toney's in the side, it's a comfortable mid-table for me. Jamie, what are you saying, mate?
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think it's comfortable mid-table because I just don't know who comes in and signs Ivan Toney now. I feel like everyone who needed a striker has gone out and bought one.
They've priced them out, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tottenham and West Ham were probably the reported likely destinations about a month or so ago, and we've gone out and signed different strikers now. I think Man United have signed Xerxes. I don't think anyone else really needs one. I mean, Chelsea really are the only people, but they're going to go get Victor Osimhen. So I don't really know who's going to pick him up. So I can't see him leaving unless he goes abroad. So for me, I would have him in the 17th to 11th bracket again, and I think they comfortably finish around 12th or so. I think having a raring and a bit Ivan Toney is going to be super important for them and Thomas Frank. So yeah, for me that's a comfortable prediction, I think.
Jay.
Yeah, I agree. I've got them in 14th. I think they'll hold on to Tony as well. Something that I just read the other day. I think Wolves are trying to replace Neto with Wissa, who Wissa is a very underrated player for them as well, and they can't afford, I don't think, to lose him, especially if they lose Tony. That will be catastrophic for them, and I would completely change my prediction then. I think Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool is really, really good business. I really rate him as a player, and he'll have a very high ceiling and he'll keep getting better. And this could be his season where he establishes himself as a Prem quality player. So yeah, I think 14th is probably about fair for them, but have to keep hold of their key players. Otherwise they'll struggle.
How many teams are left, Lucas?
We got Chelsea and West Ham.
Oh, what a game that is. Right, we leave West Ham till last. We go Chelsea, the team that love to spend loads of money for no reason. Jay, I'll let you go first. What are you saying?
I think they're just chaos, mate. I think they're absolute chaos. Like I saw, I don't know if anyone saw on Twitter the other day, the graphic of the squad depth that they've got. And they have so many players combined with a new manager who's never managed at this level before. This is a recipe for disaster that could go like really badly for them. I've got them finishing 8th. I think they'll do the same as last season. I think they'll struggle to start with. I think Cole Palmer will win them games on his own, but ultimately that only buys you so many points. So I think they're going to struggle, but pull it back. They've got Europe again this season, so they'll probably go big to try and win a trophy, and I think they'll finish 8th this season.
Jamie?
Anywhere from 5th to 15th, quite honestly. I've got no idea. I think if I had to pick a point, I'd probably put them about 9th in the table. You look at their squad; they've got I think they've got 44 players. I know players are going to go out.
That's ridiculous.
And if they do get Victor Osimhen, and I know a lot of those players aren't getting anywhere near the matchday squads anyway, but I just can't. I can't put an accurate prediction on it. I think if they get Victor Osimhen, it's a guaranteed goal scorer. They might get him 15 goals in the league or whatnot, and we know what Cole Palmer's going to do. But there's so many question marks around that club. Look at the Enzo Fernandez situation. Like what happens there? You got the Trevor Chalobah situation. What happens there? The Conor Gallagher situation. What happens there? There's just so many question marks around an already tumultuous football club that's got its up and downs over the last few years. So I'll have them at 9th. I think it'll be another season where they kind of underwhelm and shine in moments. And yeah, that's where I put them.
I'll go next. I just thought I'll get up their transfer sort of dealings. Neto, Dewsbury Hall. I don't understand the Dewsbury Hall.
We'll be here for 20 minutes.
I know. And then they've obviously got a load of youngsters and other people. Tosson's a good signing from Fulham for a free transfer. I think that's a smart bit of business. But everyone else on there is just a bit mental. With Chelsea, their manager is the unknown quantity. If he kicks into gear with him, then I think they finish in the top 4. But if it doesn't kick into gear, he'll be sacked before too long, and then be looking for another manager. And it's like Watford years ago. Anyone remembers Watford with managers? Right, they would just get rid of managers all the time and keep replacing. I think. I agree with what Jamie just said. From 5th to 15th, he's not a bad shout. Do you know what I'm saying? Because anything happens to Cole Palmer, Chelsea are null and void. It's simple as that. And they're just not that side that they once were. So I'm going to sort of go. I'm going to say I say 8th. I say 8th, and then we'll sort it out at the end for me. 8th in the league. Jay.
I did Chelsea.
Yes, you did.
I was like, yes. Can I help you?
Fair enough. I was wrapping up. Lucas, go on, man.
Yeah, I got him 8th. Question mark FC. Clean up on aisle 9. FC. They're just in absolute disarray. The club is. I don't know what the direction is. No one knows the mission, but I agree with all of you. I'm going 8th.
Yeah, it's mental. And finally, lads, we've got down to the best club on the planet, and that is West Ham United.
Move over.
Yeah, move over, everyone. Champions. Here we go. Jamie, I'll let you go first, mate. What are you saying?
Yeah, I've got West Ham finishing 8th this year. I think I'm over the moon with West Ham's business this year. Anyway, we've had countless chats already, about how happy we are with how the club's operated in this window, and have been proactive in terms of going out there and addressing all the kind of weaknesses that the squad's had and whatnot. But there are also question marks that come with that. I would love to see West Ham finish higher, but I think we have a new manager with a new style of play that the existing squad is going to have to learn, and then we also have upwards of 8-9 players, potentially more, before the end of the window, that are going to have to come in, assimilate into the dressing room, and also learn a new style of play. So I think there's going to be there could be a transitional period, there could be a gelling in period, and I don't think it's all going to be roses this season because of that. So for me, I would have us at
8th. I'll go next. I think West Ham could surprise people if Lopetegui gets this style of play and gets them gelling early. I think West Ham kick into gear early on in the season, then I think West Ham can get in possibly in the top 7. I really do. It all depends on how fast the lads adapt to Lopetegui's sort of football and the way he wants to play. If they adapt to it fast, I'm going to say top 7. If they don't, then I'm going to say about 10th for me. Which would I be disappointed with that? Not really. I said West Ham top 10. I think is fair, and but anything lower than 10th, I don't think is acceptable in my opinion. So yeah, if we click 7th, if we don't, I'm going to say 10th. Lucas,
I got us at 9th. Me personally, I'm just keeping my expectations a bit low. I'm just sick of being hurt. That's just the type of person I am. But yeah, I mean, we have the tools to push. We have the tools to push for 6th and 7th, somewhere in there. But again, in my opinion, right now, it's all on Lopetegui. I think Stein has done most of the job that's required of him, and now we just have to see how the players unfold and how the coach uses them. So yeah, I'm again keeping my expectations low. I'm going 9th. Anything worse than 10th without any at least one deep cup run, I think is a bit of a failure. So 9th for me.
Jay.
You boys speak like 3 men who've been supporting West Ham for a long time. You sum it up so well. It's like we've been hurt many a time when we've had squads and been excited by things. But the thing that stands out for me is the amount of these new signings that have said that Tim has gone and explained the project and shown them the project.
He's a sweet talker, our Tim.
Oh, mate, he is smooth as anything. But you look at the quality of signings. If we wanted to just finish top half, we didn't need to sign this many quality players. We had a squad that was capable of finishing top half.
Yeah.
So the goal this season is not to finish 8th, 9th, or 10th. The goal this season is European football, without a doubt. And I've said on this show before that I think next season's goal will be Champions League football. And that's not me saying I think we'll get Champions League. I think that's what Steiden and Lopetegui have agreed is what they want to aim for. Because we know that Lopetegui will get fed up if a club wants to be static. He won't be happy with just achieving the status quo. He did it at Wolves. He did it at Seville. He will want to move and he will want to keep bringing a team to the absolute maximum that he can take them to. My prediction is we will be very turbulent for the first 6 to 10 games. I've said that a few times when I've had a chat with you gentlemen. And I think we've got a real responsibility as fans to be patient and to buy into the project. And I know that is not what we do as West Ham fans.
But will it happen? That's the big question.
But this is the point. It only won't happen if we accept that it won't happen.
Yeah.
I think if we can stay behind the manager for the first 10 games, even when I imagine we'll be hovering around.
Get the vibes high. Keep them there.
Exactly. Once this clicks, there is far too much quality for West Ham to be languishing even in 10th. I have us ultimately clicking in the second, probably 15 to 20 games in, and I think we push and we finish 6th. And I think that is realistic as well. I don't think I'm just looking at it through my West Ham glasses.
Yeah.
I think we'll finish 6th, And all we're hoping for, and again, this is the bit where I end up getting hurt later on in the season. All we got to hope for is that Manchester United, Liverpool, one or two of those teams don't have a good season. Maybe we manage to get 5 Champions League places this year from good performance in Europe. And maybe we scrape some level of Champions League football. That's the dream. I'm not saying I think it will happen.
Yeah.
I think 6th is realistic. And I think Lopetegui will get it right eventually.
Right, now it's to get them in order.
Yeah,
Like,
let's clean this thing up, shall we?
Yeah, I'm seeing people like Gary saying, Palace for us, no, above us, no chance. Yeah, we're going to change it right there.
I say we do this. Let's just put Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. Let's put them relegation fodder. We'll keep City at the top because I'm overruled on that. But we have some room here to work with. Are there any passionate takes from any of us in the mid-table?
Let's get an agreement on the relegation first. Well, do we all agree that Leicester are going to finish bottom?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then who finishes second bottom out of Ipswich and Southampton for you guys?
I say Ipswich, personally.
Southampton for me. Southampton, yeah.
I'm going to say Southampton. I know. I think Ipswich will finish higher up. I really do. Right. So we go Ipswich as the third in there because obviously, what are we all saying? Ipswich relegation?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, I agree with Jamie, but for the agreement of it, we will say them. Right, now 17th to 11th is where we're going to have to start going to work. Who is going to finish 17th for you boys?
Forest, yeah.
I
agree. Definitely Forest.
I'll go with that. 16th.
I'll go Everton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy with it, and then I would have had Fulham. I would have had Fulham there, but I had Everton getting relegated. So, yeah, I'm happy with those two.
14th.
Wolves.
What are we saying? Wolves?
Yeah.
Don't mind that.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
I think Wolves and Fulham are basically like the same, really, but it all depends on who has a better Saturday. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, 13th.
Bournemouth. For me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fine with either Bournemouth or Brentford. Honestly, these three right here, I could care less.
Very interchangeable name.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I would go Brentford there because I think if Brentford lose Tony for any reason, they're just not the same side. They're just simply not. What we're saying about 11th? Are we sticking with Brighton or is anyone else that
I'm
comes
fine with
into
Brighton.
that?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Right. Top 10 now. 10th. What we saying?
Palace.
Yeah, I'll go with Palace.
Absolute banker.
Yeah, I definitely think they get in the top half. 9th.
United for me.
Oh, huge shout. Huge. I had Villa, personally.
Lucas, who did you have?
I had us, but I think it'd make things interesting. How about we put Chelsea 9th?
Oh no, sorry, yeah, I did have
there.
Yeah,
this looks a lot better to me.
Yeah. Right, would you agree, lads, on Chelsea 9th, United 8th, West Ham 7th, Newcastle 6th, and Villa 5th?
Yeah, maybe swap around Villa and Newcastle, and then I'm happy.
Do you know what? If it was me, I'd swap Villa around with West Ham because I think West Ham having one game a week, Villa having all these European competition.
For the vibes, I'll do it.
We'll do it for the vibes. Come on,
live a bit, lads. Come on.
And let's be honest here. Chelsea, Man United, and Villa all got European football. Yeah, because I think Chelsea have got Conference League and all. So yeah, where that 10th to 5th is, Lucas, I think that's bang on. Right, top 4, lads. What we saying? 4th.
Tottenham for me.
Spurs. Yeah, I think as it is fine for me. For the rest of
don't hate it.
It's not fine, but it is what it is.
I agree. It isn't fine, but it's okay. Right, so we all agree on them 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and then Manchester City win the title. Agreed?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, happy days.
I want it to happen.
Right. Well, that has been the tier list, right? Now we're going to talk about West Ham, Lucas. So if you want to take that off, and then we'll go to this. I've got a question for everyone in the chat and also to the boys. Who is going to win hammer of the year for West Ham this year? You guys. Jamie.
Mohamed Kudus.
Ooh, I agree. I think Mo's going to do some damage this year. Jay, what are you saying?
Jarrod Bowen. I think he's just West Ham through and through nowadays, isn't he? And I think he's going to have another great season. Impossible not to love him. So, yeah, Jarrod Bowen for me.
Lucas?
It's hard because there's one I want to pick for aura, numbers, and then just all around. You combine them both. I actually think Kudus has a good shout. I really think he's going to – what Bowen did last season, I could see Kudus doing this season. It just depends on if he plays on the left. It depends on how much he plays on the left. But I'm going to go Guido Rodriguez. I don't know what it is. Something in the air is telling me this guy is going to be an absolute legend.
I'll go with Mo. I think Mo is going to tear it up this year. I think he's looked good in pre-season. And I think this is his breakout season where you're going to look at a player and think, wow, what a player we got. Now, final question for you boys. Who's going to be the flop of the season? Whether that's a transfer or just a general player. Jay, I'm going to start off with you.
I am going to say it's harsh on him, but I'll say Max Kilman. I really like him as a player, but I think the price tag could end up weighing heavy on him. I hope I'm wrong because I want him to be nothing but successful. But the feedback I've heard from Wolves fans of him needing someone solid next to him, if Tadibo gets injured or something, if we go in with Kilman and Mavropanos or Kilman and Agard, I make that Kilman a senior centre back, and I see him not necessarily thriving in that environment. So I hope I'm wrong, but I would say Kilman.
Jamie?
It's really hard to say. It really is, because we've signed a lot of unknown entities. I don't know. I don't want to call him a flop of the season, but I would say Luis Guilherme, because I don't know what to expect from him, because he is completely unproven. He's an 18-year-old kid, and if he's got a big price over his head, just like what Jay was saying. So if he doesn't perform, then it's going to be seen as quite a poor transfer. For me, I don't know who I'd say is a flop, though. I just think, it's hard. It is hard. I think Luis Guilherme is obviously the unproven talent, so it could go wrong,
I'll go next. One man who I think is not going to be as good, and then next season we'll be looking to sort of replace him, is left back Emerson. I think West Ham will be solid on the right-hand side, of defence, but the left-hand side of defence is going to be a bit of a problem. If Kilman doesn't kick into gear and Emerson is going forward and not getting back, then I think he might not be as good as he usually is. I like Emerson. It's nothing against Emerson, but I don't see anyone else being a disappointment in this coming season. I look at Bowen, Kudus, Alvarez. I look at all these players, and with them, they are consistent. And I think on that left-hand side, especially left-hand side defence, left-back position, that's the one weakness that we haven't really got to grips with yet. Do you know what I mean? Even though I do like Emerson. So I am going to say Emerson this year. I don't know why. I've got a feeling that he ain't going to be as good as he has been for West Ham. Lucas?
Again, I'm going to stay hopeful. I'm going to stay optimistic. But I'll be honest, boys, I don't feel Lopetegui's going to pan out here. That's going to be my flop of the season.
Jeez.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't see that one coming.
I could have said League One West, but
Bring the vibes down, by the way, guys.
Listen, he doesn't speak for me, people.
Christ.
He doesn't. Go on.
Again, I want to see it happen. That's for me. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see it to believe it, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been that high on him ever since we hired him. I don't know. And again, I don't want to say Kilman. I don't know. Lopetegui for me. You hate it or love it, whatever.
It's massive.
I'll tell you what. James has said my favourite West Ham player in Emerson is going to flop, so I'm already annoyed about that. And now we've got Lucas saying the new gaffer. We're an hour and a half in. Me and Jay are sitting here quite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jamie, it'd have been funnier if someone had said. It'd been funnier if someone said Fulkrug to see your reaction.
Yeah. I thought I ain't saying Fulkrug because Jamie would fucking kill me.
I'll be at the 2 hour mark, all right?
Yeah. So listen. I understand what Lucas is saying in regards of Lopetegui.
I want him to be the greatest manager that has ever stepped foot at this club, Lopetegui. I really do.
I think it's
just,
the unknown.
That's just my guess.
Yeah, I think it's the unknown quantity with Lopetegui. That's one thing I will say is that we all don't know what we're going to get. Like that's exactly it. Do you know what I'm saying? We're either going to be amazing or we're going to go the other way. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think there's a middle with West Ham. That's one thing I will agree. With the Emerson thing, I just look at him and I just think I love him as a player. I really like him, but I just think I can't see anyone else who's going to be a flop. So I've got to pick someone, and you know what I mean. Other than that, it could be League One Wes from the bench, smiling a lot, but it is what it is. Gentlemen, we have come towards the end. Thank you very much for both of you lads coming on yet again this week. Jamie, shout out all your stuff so people know where to find you, mate.
Yeah, cheers for having me on again. Jamie Talks on all socials and Jamie Talks Football on YouTube. Thanks, guys.
No worries, Jamie. Jay, same to you, mate.
Yeah, at JDogWHU on Twitter. Find me there. Thanks again, lads, and come on your irons for the weekend.
And no worries at all. Lucas, anyone can find you?
Do not find me. Don't follow me on Twitter.
The Pearl Diver, everyone.
But if you want to, ELLYOUSEAYEESS.
Yeah.
Spells out Lucas.
AKA the Pearl Diver.
I want everyone to DM him when we beat Aston Villa on the weekend and Lopetegui ball is well underway. That's what I want. Right?
What's the Rock gif?
Yeah, I know, man. I know. Listen, been an absolute pleasure. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to E20 Zone TV if you're new around here. The boys are back on Saturday night and we're all going to sort of be there viewing it, watching it from afar and being in the ground. Joe, one thing I will say, it's so exciting to see football finally back. It's been a long summer, but the boys are going to be back and yeah, we're all excited for it.
And back the manager. Back him. Back the manager. Even if things go wrong, back the manager.
Yeah, back him. Do you know what I mean? Like, drive his car for him. Who gives a shit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So do all that stuff. I'll be back. I'll be back on Thursday or Friday for the Villa preview, and these boys will be back again soon. Take care of yourselves. All the best and peace.